Welcome to MD Quickfire Podcast with Matt and Emily.
I'm Andy Lowe and I run a company called Sandler and we specialise in sales performance and training.
What does specialise in sales performance training do as a business?
Well, a really great client for us is somebody who kind of wants to double. They may want to double more than once, but someone's ambitious to grow but may have some headaches doing it, right? Some of the people I love working with actually hate sales, but it's what they need to do what they love. And so there's a category of people who kind of like would just run a mile if for any job description that said that they were in sales. You got accountants or solicitors, but some professionals, directors, they just don't like commercial conversations.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think they don't like to be branded as a salesperson when they are really, we're all salespeople?
Yeah, I mean, there's a book that says we're all in sales now. There's a government white paper, and what it said is that there's a stigma, and so people don't like to be perceived as salespeople. And probably the reason for that is, if I ask you to think of a salesperson, what comes to mind?
Well, I used to be a door-to-door salesperson, so that is what people think of. People invading your space and doing the hard sell and annoying you. And then people dislike that. So over the years, people associate that kind of behaviour with salespeople, so they don't see it as professional or something as like you were saying, if someone is a professional like an accountant or a solicitor,
or even a
director, they've got that status. They don't want to then downgrade to a lower grade status because of the preconceptions we've got of salespeople over the years. And
even people who are in sales who are great at it kind of like hide the fact they're in sales by changing their job titles to kind of avoid it. And either you as an individual feel that sales is kind of like a little bit murky or kind of less than a proper profession, or maybe it's in the back of the mind of the person you're trying to sell to or have a conversation with. So often we call it like a buyer-seller dance, where it's characterized by maybe there's a lack of trust, and that can lead to some quite awkward conversations. And what we do is we help people sell more authentically, ethically, and kind of find their voice so that they can have these conversations so that they're not perceived as salesy. And so we help companies scale, and we help sales managers to manage their sales force, because there's not a lot of great training for sales managers. It's the best person at sales gets the job, and that can be hard. So we kind of professionalized it.
So is sales a skill that people are born with, or something that can be taught?
That's a great question.
Yes and yes, I think. I think to sell to a certain extent is natural for some people. What it can be is difficult to do under pressure. And we spoke before about sometimes people are emotionally involved in the sale and they take it personally, especially business owners. So it can be, even people who are good at it can be tricky. And if people who are naturally good, what can be hard is people try and copy them, or it's not their style. And someone gave me an example before, and I thought, well, that sounds really good when you say it, but it's got real high risk that if someone else said it without the same tonality or intent, it could come across wrong. So sometimes people who are great at sales don't know why. It's their personality, it's business owners, they make it happen. And so when they try to scale, they try and replicate themselves, and it can be hard. So often people who are great at sales don't know why, and they can even benefit from sales training because it kind of like figures out and helps their team to kind of get to the level where they think they should be. Because often people, they're scaling, doing really well, they hire the first salespeople, and it can be hard.
Have you always been in sales?
I've spent many years trying to get out of sales, to be fair. So my first job was selling donuts and ice cream on a promenade in New Brighton when I was a kid to get some money. And then I kind of paid my way. It was back in the days where, because I'm old, you got grants to go to uni. So the first person in my family to go to uni. And then I ended up going into sales because I like talking with people. I like people. So they kept on putting me into sales. So I left the sales role. I was sales manager, quit, travelled the world. And I did what you did, a door-to-door sales and telesales. I thought I'd left it. I hadn't. And then I got back in, got a graduate into the business. And the MD put me straight back into sales. Okay. So then I quit to get a bigger job after 8 years there. And then business development. Turns out that's just posh for sales. And then I managed a some business units. First thing is sales. So back in sales again. Then I ran a pastry company. Guess what? Number one objective, sales. Okay. Then I went to a care industry. Guess what? Sales. So all I've done is done more sales with bigger teams. I had a team of 100. A lot of it was customer service, operations, but I've never been able to avoid sales. So I now admit it. I'm Andy and I'm a salesperson, right? Eventually I get there.
So you are.
So I've got a really great insight when people go, hey, oh God, sales, I don't like that. Because everyone's got days like that. So I think all those struggles has kind of helped me deliver more authentic training.
And what sort of challenges do you face then within sales for that you've generally come across on a day-to-day or monthly basis? Is it rejection? Because I can imagine that to be quite
yes,
daunting on your mind. For anybody, a young person coming into sales and constantly get rejection,
yeah,
and then only closing the deal every now and then.
I did some mentoring with last week with a great organisation that helps people starting out in business, and navigating that sales conversation when you're new to it can be really hard. And what they were saying is like some of the responses they were getting were just hard to answer. And so they started to avoid some of the questions they should be asking. And finding their way can be tricky. But the second part of your question, can people be trained? I think the answer is yes. Because there's certain processes, certain things that they can do to kind of really help them and make those conversations easier. So it can be tricky, but not just from new people. If you own your own business, sometimes if someone says no, it can feel personal because you've attached, they're rejecting me, right? And so that emotional side can be tricky, yeah.
You do workshops from time to time. If anybody's listening would love to book onto your workshop, how would they be able to get in contact with you?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. You're good at this. So I'm on LinkedIn, Andy Lowe, it's Sandler, Merseyside.
Lowe is spelled
Lowe.
Yep.
Again, good at this. Drop me a message, invite along. I'm running free workshops. Run them about monthly or so. And what they are, it's an opportunity to come along for business owners, directors, professionals, and to kind of share the challenges that you face. And my aim is everyone who comes goes away with something practical that they can put into their business, right? So at the end, I'll check in. What did you learn? Any questions? And in between, sometimes we'll go deep dive into why those problems occur and how to avoid them. And we'll run a few ideas to help their business. So,
are these workshops online or are they face-to-face in an office environment?
I mean, I do it like today. I've done a load of talks out in the. I do get out the house. Thank you. But these are on Zoom.
Zoom, yeah.
Zoom,
so the workshops are on Zoom, so anyone can tap in.
Yeah, register for free, and the details are on the website as well.
And are there any books you'd recommend people read to help with sales?
Oh, again, great question, right? So we've got about 30 odd books, and probably my favourite, which goes back to the founder David Sandler and his journey, and it wasn't a smooth one, so it's an interesting read, is his book, which is in my bag behind you. It's about, grab it there.
I forgot what it's about, it's that good.
It's never read it.
So I've even got the audio book. I'm that sad, right? You can't teach a kid to ride a bike at a seminar. I thought I was going to screw up the title then. But you can't teach a kid to ride a bike at a seminar. And what that means is you got to get out and do it, right? Because you can't ride a bike in a classroom. You got to get out and experience it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might fall off, sometimes, but you learn by doing. And so this is like a little bit of a journey and a little how-to guide. So that's a really nice introduction that people can get.
And you just recently ran a marathon, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. Well, yes, my version of running, which is kind of, I stumbled around Manchester for a local charity, which I was really pleased about. Well, that was great fun.
Is the link still open for people to donate to the charity, or is it closed now?
Oh, good question. I think it's probably still open, but Alfie Squad, is the name of the charity, and they've got their own website where you can donate. And there's an amazing interview on 5 Live with Alfie and his mum, Alison, about all the great work that they do. So I'd definitely check out that.
For your random question then, if you were a superhero and you could possess any power in the world, what power would it be and why?
What power would it be and why? Oh, that's a great question. It's going to take me 3 months to go, oh, I should have said that. That's the thing with sales. You always know what you should have said afterwards and you can learn from it. So what would I say? A great superpower. So I can't say anything that's too creepy, can I? So there's nothing to do with...
you can say whatever you want, it's fine. It's not going out to the police, you're all right, you won't get locked up.
Can I create a new one? I'd probably figure out earlier what people's mood is. Ability to kind of just tap in and kind of understand where people are and a sense of, their mood. What's the biggest thing that's...
There's a film like that, Mel Gibson, What Women Want, is it?
Oh, I haven't seen that.
And you can hear what their thoughts and what they're saying because he walks past them in the park and oh, he's a bit of a hot stuff, isn't he?
Yeah. I wasn't thinking just of women or for that. I've been with my wife since the last century. Those thoughts wasn't me. So yeah, I haven't seen that. I watched the film and go, God, that's a rubbish superpower. That's the worst one I could have gone for strength or speed, right? I would have been better at marathon running. So yeah. And clearly I haven't given that much thought before.
So if you had a superpower, Emily, what would it be? What superhero would you be?
I don't think I'd want any because I like my life the way it is. I think if you start meddling with stuff, it just wouldn't be the same, would it?
That's interesting.
If I was like, I don't know, think of one, like super speed, I could get around a lot, but my life just wouldn't be the same. It'd have a knock-on effect on the rest of my life, and I don't think I'd like to change anything about my life.
That's a better answer.
Yes, I'd decline the superpower. Okay,
that's fine.
What would you?
I would like to have a brain where I could remember magic card tricks like that. And we could call it Magic Matt, and I'd have a cape with a black cape with a red M on, saying Magic Matt.
You could still go for the cape. You don't have to wait till
you've got superhero. You've got to have a cape. The old traditional, the old school way.
I hadn't thought of the outfit. That's a whole different level, right?
The lycra, Andy and lycra.
Yeah, I wouldn't wish that on anyone, right?
Well, thank you so much for coming on, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
Cheers.
You've been listening to MD Quickfire Podcast. To sponsor our show or appear as a guest, visit us at mdfitout.co.uk.